yeah, we're live. We're back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast. My name is Jason Fearman, a.k.a. the Sports Prophet, a.k.a. the Smart Guy, along with my smart-ass co-host, Mr. Kenny Culp. What's going on, partner?
Not much, man. Been waiting all week for football to start back up.
Yes.
About it.
And here it is. We're ready to go. We got a good one tonight, too. What's up to your boy over here, Philly Special Cards?
Yeah, he's an Eagle fan. Big time.
The Eagles. Oh, all right. Well, then he's got a lot to say tonight, I'm sure. He's got a lot of interest in this game.
Spongy's like a young man, and he knows his stuff.
All right. I like that. I'm always impressed. My best friend, his son, is like my nephew, basically. I mean, he's 10 years old, and he knows like every damn stat that there is out there. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Hell
but yeah, huge team. Eagles 7-2, Commanders 7-3. First place game on the line tonight. Can't wait to freaking do it over here, baby. Let's go. We got a lot.
Spongy knows. I've given him his credit. I talked about Philly all year. I said they were going to be a legit team, offense and defense. And yeah. I am not starting Jaden this week because I really like Philly's D. I like their rush. The Washington O-line is Krizap. And, you know, I got Russell Wilson sitting on the bench there, chomping at the bit. And he wants to play in this Baltimore game. They give up like over 3,000 yards passing this year already. Nobody comes close.
Yeah, Baltimore's defense is not what Baltimore's defense used to be. So I can kind of understand. Jane Daniels has not been performing great lately as far as
it's very hard to sit that guy.
It's hard to sit that guy. But as far as fantasy goes, he has not been playing that great as of the past couple of weeks. And maybe this matchup, I kind of get it, if you want to do something like that. So it is big-time fantasy. We're getting closer to the playoffs. I got my stuff going on. I got questions about my team, what I should do. Broncos got a new running back. I wonder if he's going to blow up this Esteem guy over here or whatever his name is. But we're going to have some fun tonight, though. We're going to start our top 5 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in the league right now. Not best, overall everything, because Christian McCaffrey hasn't played it down yet this year. So he kind of doesn't really count. Except for last week, he started last week, 117 scrimmage yards, doing what McCaffrey does. But being the fact that he hasn't played this year, he's not going to be on my list. Maybe Kenny's got different criteria, but we're going to go through it. We'll start with the quarterbacks. But before we get to that, Anthony Richardson back starting the job in Indy. I think it's the right move. Again, I told you I never thought they should have benched him to begin with. So how much did he learn in 2 games under Joe Flacco? I don't really know because they went 0-2 and Flacco didn't play that well. So I don't know how much
he did not have any leadership skills in those games to show anybody anything.
Well, he's going to try to show it now because now it's time. It's him for the rest of the year, for better or for worse, no matter what's going to happen. So Anthony Richardson is a 3-3 starter this year. Let's see what he can do. Indy is in the mix for that final wild card spot, believe it or not. And if he plays well, let's see. Like I told you once before, he's kind of like, he doesn't exactly remind me of Josh Allen, but he's got that Josh Allen type thing where he comes in with all this raw ability and throw the ball a mile, has, just a ton of talent. And he had to develop that accuracy. And Josh Allen did. He became an accurate quarterback. Can Anthony Richardson do the same? We'll see.
So far, what we've seen this year, no. And Trevor Lawrence is like, I know I brought this up before, but they're like playing the same level right now. It's bad. It's just bad play.
Trevor Lawrence is on a horrible level. He's not even playing now at this point. I mean, that's due to injury, obviously. Mac Jones is in there.
He's always a little hurt.
Philly Special says he loves Flacco mania. Well, the mania was last year. This year, just maniac.
I did say last week or the week before that I'm perfectly comfortable having Flacco on my bench, but Russ was sitting there, and after those 2 games, and nobody was going to pick him up. I just picked him up. I would have started Jaden this week, left Flacco there all year on the bench, but Russ made it real easy for me to pick him up.
I don't blame you, man. He still throws a real pretty downfield ball, and George Pickens is there to pick him up. It works. So, and
3 TDs in 2 of his last 3 games.
Yeah, and and as you were pointing out, against those DBs over there, Marlon Humphrey, I mean, he's going to have to shadow Kenny Pickens, and Kenny Pickens will move around on the offense. He will go to the slot and he'll go in motion and whatnot. So it's going to be hard to do that man-to-man type of thing with him getting free off the line of scrimmage. So, excuse me, very interesting. We will talk about that and a lot more, but I want to get to our top 5 list. This should be fun. All right, we haven't done anything like this. Let's
No,
start
I think we wanted to, but we ran out of time. And
yeah, I mean, there's always time, and we don't want to run out of time tonight. So let's get to it. We have a great game that we all want to watch, obviously. So let's start jamming. Let's do quarterbacks. Let's go from 5 to 1. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go. But why don't we both do our number 1s, then we both do our number 2s, then we both do our number 3. So do you want to do a 5 and 5? Because I feel like we do a 5 and 5.
You want to start with 1 and go down to 5?
Yeah, we'll both do our 1, and then we'll go down. Only because I feel like we'll be a little disconnected if we just do our 5 and 5 separately. Like, let's see just where we are together. Like how off we are, how gelled we are, or how off we are.
Well, despite the fact that Mahomes is not playing great this year, and I have everybody's numbers in front of me, he's only thrown for 2,200 yards, which is less in comparison to guys like Lamar, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, or whatever. And his touchdown to interception ratio is 12-3. So again, he's not doing anything extremely spectacular, but when the game is on the line, he always makes the plays, and that's Patrick Mahomes, and that's his greatness. So he's got to be number 1 for me, and I don't think it should be a mystery.
Clutch, and I know why you did it. I was going to do the same thing.
Oh, but you didn't?
I didn't. You know who I got at number 1?
You sacrilegious sick bastard. What is going on with you right now?
I'm a weird dude. I'm a little bit of a rebel. I got Mr. Joe Burrows at number 1.
Okay.
Tied with 2 other guys for the lead in touchdowns. He's leading in the most yards.
Yes, he is. 2,600 yards plus. He's got a 68% completion percentage, and 24-4 in touchdown to interception ratio.
Oh, man. That's insane.
This is MVP numbers, but for a team that's not winning. So it's no good.
And so we have different criteria, and that's awesome because we'll have great lists, and people will get to learn a lot. So my thing is I got to go with the stats for this year, and that's why I didn't put Patrick Mahomes first, as he's number 1 clutch best quarterback in the NFL the last 5 years probably. I admit. That's my opinion on that. But he was not my number 1.
Hey, he may not be playing like the best quarterback, really right now, but I still rely on him more than any other quarterback in the league. And he keeps proving it time after time. I mean, he didn't block that field goal last week, which is just still freaking me out. Kansas City remains undefeated on a blocked field goal. How many more ways can this team figure out to fucking win? It's amazing.
One foot out of bounds in the Ravens game. Right. Right, and then they won in overtime against Tampa.
Penalty against Cincinnati.
And overtime win in Tampa.
Unbelievable stuff.
That's wild. Really. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Again, very awesome. But I'm going to chalk it up. A lot of that is the defense.
I agree with you. The defense is top notch. No doubt. And that gets lost in the shuffle because of, Mahomes and Kelsey. But all right, my number 2 is Lamar Jackson, hands down. You can even argue him for number 1. A lot of people this year, and I understand that he's going to win his 3rd MVP. The guy is absolutely on fire. I got his numbers right here: 2,600 yards plus, 24 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, even a little bit better than Joe Burrow, actually, and 69% completion percentage, just a smidge over Burrow right there. And then again, he rushes, he runs the ball all over the place. He's got 500, 600 yards this year running. So he's so dynamic. What he does is unreal. And even Mahomes still being the best quarterback, in my opinion, you have to prepare for Lamar Jackson more than any other quarterback.
You do. That guy is the MVP for the last 2 years? Or no, he's won 2. But he may win again this year. He may win again this year and have the back-to-back.
He's the front runner for sure.
And then he'd have as many as Aaron Rodgers, right? Already.
Rodgers got 4.
Does he have 4? You sure it's not 3?
Rodgers got 4, yeah. Because he won 2 late in Green Bay and he had 2 before that.
Well, look at that. And so that's pretty nice, man. I mean, when you can bring in an MVP, that's just your individual accomplishments. And so, he is arguably number 1. And with the record, what I took away from him and what I gave to Burrow was the running game.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry has a lot to do with his success, in my opinion. I don't feel like Burrows, Brown, or Zach Moss are making him better. I just don't.
I understand that.
I don't see it.
And you know what? And then what's also fair? T. Higgins has been gone for half the year, if not more than that. I got him on my fantasy team, so I know very well that he's been missing. Yeah. So without his second best wide receiver, who is really like a one on many other teams, Not happening. All right, third for me, Josh Allen, and people can put him 1 or 2. I don't care. 3 for me. It's really close with these other guys, but just because of his running ability, that extra added dimension that he adds to the game, and that's important now in the NFL. If you are not athletic, you can't run, you better be Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and those guys don't grow on fucking trees. So I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
They get cloned in labs.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Allen is having a great season too, but he's got about 2,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Great numbers, MVP type numbers as well. He'll be in the race with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. You're not going to like this. My number 3. I don't know if we did talk about Lamar, but Lamar has no rushing touchdowns this year. It's been conceded to Derek, and now he's more of a pure quarterback. And I think that's why, of course, he's still running the ball and can make anything happen on 4th and.
But that's the thing. He's throwing so well out of the pocket. He's got what is it? The second most yards in the league.
Zay Flowers is
by only 3 yards. He's only got 3 yards less than Joe Burrow, and that's for top in the league. So he's throwing the ball as good as anybody.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only reason Lamar wasn't 1. Burrows has 24 passing touchdowns. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of touchdowns.
Lamar's got 24.
He's
only got 2 interceptions.
Lamar with Henry. That's what it was for me. So
all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's all right. And that's your list. Your list may be dumb, but it's your list.
It could be. Well, you're going to love this one then. We're talking about my number 3 on the list.
Who could this be?
Can you guess, you think? It's not somebody you probably think.
You're going to say Jared Goff.
No, hell no. He's Jimmy G 2.0. Right. That's Jimmy G.
I don't know where you're going with it. All right, hold on. Give me one more guess. Hold on. Where can you be going with this one? That I'm not going to like it.
I don't know if you're going to like it. I'm a big fan of this guy. I've always been, and ever since the day I got on and did my first live, I spoke about this guy.
Jalen Hurts?
No, it's Baker Mayfield.
Oh, God. Oh, you would. Oh,
Baker.
Kenny. Oh, Kenny.
Baker Mayfield. Let's go.
Oh, God.
2,500 yards, 24 touchdowns passed, tied with Lamar and Burrows. Oh, boy.
Oh, Kenny.
And he's got Bucky over there, who's like no superstar, but he's doing great. Yeah, White over there, Rashad White, who's doing nice. He lost his 2 best wide receivers for the last 2 weeks. He'd have more touchdowns than both those chumps.
You know what? I'm going to say something right now. You're not incredibly crazy. You're just a little crazy on this one, putting him number 3.
A little crazy is under.
Putting him number 3 is a little nuts. Now, we are talking about this year predominantly, and he is playing out of his mind again this year. He's even gotten better from last year, which we didn't think that Baker Mayfield really could do. So I'm going to give you credit on that for the fact that he's been doing this, and again, without a lot of his weapons. I know they lost the past few games, but it has not been his fault. The defense.
Right. And they didn't really lose ground, and neither did Atlanta, because Atlanta lost their game. We beat Tampa, so nothing really happened, even though they lost a 2-7 New Orleans or whatever. But, nothing happened in that division. You know what I mean? It didn't move.
I hear you saying. I hear what Philly's saying over here, and believe me, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, right? It's coming, Sponge. It's coming.
Maybe not right this second, but my number 4 is Joe Burrow, and we already gave all the information on him, so I don't need to go into any more. This guy would be in the MVP running right now if Cincinnati had a winning record, but they don't
need to win. You're 100% right. Winning and scoring touchdowns for a quarterback, scoring a touchdown and winning is the 2 most important things, in my opinion. And some of them are winning, and some of them are not. But I think everyone I picked is winning. So, except for Burrow. But you know what? Here's my thing with Burrow. Like you mentioned, MVP numbers. He's over there. I feel like he needs a lot of help over there. The defense isn't fantastic. The running backs aren't fantastic. Chase is amazing.
No, he's incredible.
Chase is like having a bat belt, like the
he's
bat
absolutely
belt.
Incredible.
He says he's always open, and from what I noticed, he is. So it's pretty nice having him. But without the help, that's the only reason I don't want to keep harping on it. But and I don't feel like insulted because you thought I was crazy and something like that. But that was really what it was for me. That Burrows is kind of all alone over there, in my opinion, and that's really what did it. But who do you have it for then?
4 was Joe Burrow for me.
4 was Burrow. I got Jalen Hurts.
You got Jalen Hurts at 4. All right, I got him at 5. So there you go. All right.
Again, he's got Saquon, so he's just under 2,000 with the yards. He's got 12 passing touchdowns, nothing crazy. And I know because, too, you have Brown, I have Devonta Smith. We ain't getting touchdowns. Like, it's not really happening like that. So it's a lot of Saquon, a lot of little check downs, and maybe like some yards after carry that's really happening. But the guy has 10 rushing touchdowns. Now, that used to be Lamar.
Again, that other dynamic that we keep talking about, being able to run the ball, he's got that as good as anybody. And then the brotherly shove, the tush push, you can't beat it. So, yeah, I agree. That's why he's 5 for me, and he could be even higher. So I understand. Who's your number 5? Let's round it out.
All right. Number 5 for me is, I couldn't leave him off the list. Josh Allen, 2,200 yards.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Passing, 17 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. The real number to pay attention with him, though, is the interceptions. Right? This is the first year that he's been able to keep his turnovers down, and I think that even includes fumbles. I forgot to dig into the fumbles, how many he's lost, how many he's actually fumbled. But his turnover rate has gotten 1,000 times better, in my opinion, and that's why his team is where they are this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're in a good spot. And what a great game that we're going to talk about later. Kansas City 9-0, Buffalo 8-2. Big time matchup. Josh Allen 3-1 against Mahomes in the regular season, but 0-3 in the postseason. That's a big deal. Let's go to our running backs now, 1 through 5. We'll go a little bit quicker so we can get to our games, obviously. But Nick, I just want to preface what I'm, before my list, that Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey would be on my list had they been playing this year, but they're not, because I know that they'd be putting up monster numbers. That's just the type of running backs that they are. So they're left off, honorable mentions. So I'll give you my number 1 running back this year. It is Saquon Barkley, man. He is doing everything you can imagine. He's jumping over people backwards. I mean, the guy is just unreal what he's doing. So
that was like Dancing with the Stars rehearsed.
That was crazy.
Man. What the hell?
That was crazy. I know Derrick Henry's got more rushing yards, but Saquon adds in the passing game what Derrick Henry doesn't. And he's got 6 rushing touchdowns. I don't know how many receiving he's got.
Only 2 receiving, but
2 receiving. Okay.
Philly doesn't always have to score a lot to win games. So, it's what it is.
But the thing is, it feels like he runs for 112 yards every game. Guy is so consistent. I know Philly's special.
Yeah, I think there was one game only where Saquon didn't have a great game. I think it just recently happened. But beyond that, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's just been great. He's been, to me, he should be in the MVP running, especially the way that they've been winning lately has been by running the ball. So Saquon, my number 1. Who do you got number 1?
Saquon is not my number 1, but just real quick, he also had 2 2-point conversions. 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
Super helpful when you're trying to either get a lead, come back, or extend your lead out of reach from the team that you're playing.
Sure.
Very important. That's a clutch moment, so I like that too. But my number 1 has to be King Henry.
Yeah,
King Kong has nothing on King Henry. He's a leading rusher at 1,120 yards. He's got 12 touchdowns rushing. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns and 0 fumbles.
That's huge. Yeah, that's something that guy does not do. He does not let go of the ball. He really doesn't.
I don't know if Saquon fumbled, but he may have fumbled once, and that was pretty much why he may not have been 1 for me. I don't know if he has a fumble, but that may have been the reason. So
could be. So Philly wants us to rank the defenses after. Maybe we might even get into that. That's possible.
Yeah, I think we could do that maybe off the dome. I didn't do defenses, but I think I could do it.
Nah, maybe we'll just try to get a few off top. We'll see. Let's see how we do.
Let's do a top 3. We'll do a top 3.
All right. My number 2 is Derrick Henry. And again, you went over his numbers. I don't have to say much. I mean, we see what he's doing, not just for Baltimore this year, but for himself, a guy who's turning 30 or is 30 right now, actually, and could be going for 2,000 yards. And even if he doesn't get there, could offensive player of the year, whatever, yada, yada. He's my number 2 behind Saquon Barkley. Who do you got at 2?
At 2, I have Saquon Barkley.
Okay, there we go. So we just flipped that.
That's right there.
1 and 2. Now, number 3 for me is, I don't know, maybe it's out of the norm a little bit. I don't know. But to me, when I watch football, I look carefully, and this guy is getting positive yards and a lot of them every time he touches the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is a monster, dude. This guy is so good, not just running the ball, but catching the ball. He 727 yards rushing already, 7 touchdowns on the ground. Again, I don't have all his numbers in front of me. I just jotted down a couple of things, but I watched Detroit, and he is their best player. He's in his second year. David Montgomery is great. Don't get me wrong. They're a wonderful compliment. I call him Rhythm and Bruise. I've been doing that for a while.
That's perfect.
Rhythm and Bruise, man.
Nailed that perfectly. It's exactly right. You're exactly right. One is the bruiser. Montgomery's going to bounce off two guys the way Debo does and continue to move forward. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to dance with you.
Yeah.
And
he's got the rhythm.
He's got the great footwork. He's got the explosiveness. And I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to tell you right now, he didn't make my list.
Okay, all right.
And the reason why
he's easy to leave off. He's an easy guy. He shares the backfield. I understand.
And I made my criteria known that he's on a very stacked team. So for me, that's really might have been what really just kept him off. And I even wrote under here. We're not going to get into runner-ups because we're moving. We're trying to get done quick. But he was down there with Montgomery, and I think Dobbins. They're like, I want all those three guys and Jacobs. I wanted all those guys to be in my top 5. I couldn't get everyone in there, so I just want yeah.
They are. Well,
Here's my number 3, and I thought you were going to say the same guy, so I was really pumped.
Who you got?
Alvin Kamara.
Really?
700 rushing yards, 700 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 400 receiving yards, and a touchdown on a terrible team.
So he's already over 1,000 yards from scrimmage on the season.
Yes, sir. And he's got 7 touchdowns, and that matches Gibbs. And it's not far behind Saquon. Oh, it's actually ahead of Saquon, but Saquon's got the 2 receiving touchdowns. And King Henry's got, I think he's out of reach. No one's going to catch him, I don't think.
I'm sorry. I may have overlooked him, to be honest with you, because the Saints.
It's very hard. There's a lot of good running backs this year. That's why I couldn't even get Gibbs in there, but I loved your pick because I wanted to pick Gibbs. In the beginning of the season, he would have been up there with like CMC, Brees, Gibbs, like Bijan. You know what I mean? Well,
that's the thing. If New Orleans was a good team, then we'd definitely be talking about Alvin Kamara a lot more. There's no doubt about it. But there's such a bad team that he gets lost in the shuffle, and he's been doing this every year for a long time. I mean, I don't know when he's going to run out, but no, he's still very impressive. So you know what? I have no problem with that pick right there. My number 4 is a guy who has not played every game this year, but when he is playing, he is extremely dominant, and that's Joe Mixon. Maybe out of the ordinary, but Joe Mixon still managed to have 655 yards already, missing 5 games or whatever it was. Got in the end zone 7 times already. Is doing things in the passing game. Joe Mixon has made this offense really go. He's been the catalyst behind everything because when Nico Collins was out, Joe Mixon was taking care of things. And when you got Tank Dell as your top receiver, you got to go back to Joe Mixon doing what you got. So you know what? I think that he was undervalued in Cincinnati. And I think this year he's showing people that, you know what? You let me go. Let me show you what I could do.
Yeah, people hate that. And they want to get you back and they want to hurt you. And it usually works out. They usually have a great season. That anger is good motivation. It's a constant reminder. And it's why I liked, not to go off topic too much, but the Niners picks of the Florida State guys, because they got that chip on their shoulder from being left out of the bowl game. And I think it's going to be with them forever. It's the kind of shit that sticks with you forever.
Whatever works, whatever gets your motor going, right? That's what I say. Now, who do you got at 4?
At 4, I have Bijan Robinson.
Okay, he's been showing something this year.
750 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 330 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. But the no fumbles, I really love too. I really like to see that when you don't give the ball up and you don't give, a chance for the other team to score again. That's huge for your team. So Bijan, and I'm glad he's doing well. I think we all knew he would do well.
Yeah.
But Mixon is such a great guy. Again, Devon A. Chan. Not on my list. Wanted to put him in there too. It's not his fault Tua was gone.
Look, Josh, been great. I'm with you. And you mentioned Josh Jacobs before. He's just behind the guy I'm putting in now at number 5. And I don't know if he's going to be on your list, but he's not the most popular guy. But James Conner, about 700 yards rushing right now, 5 touchdowns. James Conner is really the engine that makes Arizona's offense go because Kyler Murray is not doing what he's doing, playing from the pocket as well as he is in play action without James Conner's run game. So this guy is the most quiet running back in the league that does the most things. He runs over people. He runs around people. James Conner, I'm giving him love, man. I'm putting him number 5 this year.
That's another great running back that's not on my list, but I would have loved to put in there. I have Kyren Williams, right?
Okay, they touchdown machine.
Here's the guy who scored, I think, like on every game last year, I think it was, or he had like almost as many touchdowns as CMC rushing, not receiving. Right. He had just as many rushes, yards per carry as CMC. He was right there with him. He was like, in my opinion, last year was right behind CMC for like the best running back. That's how I saw it. And so I drafted him this year in fantasy with my second pick. I got CMC and I got Kyren, thinking if they did what they did last year, that's almost 50 touchdowns for me right there.
Really. Yeah.
Hasn't been like that this year with Kyren, 660 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, but he's been kind of slowing down. He's only had 2 games over 20 points in fantasy. So, like, I'm not to go on fantasy. That's not all that matters, but it gives you an idea of like what they're producing.
Right. That gives you stats, but that's why we also look at the game. And that's why I feel like James Conner is my number 5. He's not going to be your number 5 on stats. He's not even going to be your number 10 on stats probably, but what he does on the field and the way that he grinds stuff out, just very impressive to me. Let's go to
I actually like Conner better. I actually like Conner better than Kyren now that you say it. And Kyren, what happened to him is you got Puka and Kupp came back. And so his productivity and his, going to suffer.
You got to feed you. Look, you got to feed you guys, man. Let's do our wide receivers. We're going to go a little bit quicker because we got to get to our stuff. We're at the halfway mark already of the show. So wide receivers, I'm going to tell you right now, Tyreek Hill would automatically be on my list, no doubt, and so would Devontae Adams, but they're not having their types of seasons. So I'm going to give them their love, but can't do it right now. As you say, what's up to Mr. McNiner over here? What's up, David McNiner?
Hey, David. Thanks for stopping in.
Always appreciate it. Yeah, let's
David is who I do about the other pick'em show. That's what I do. That's on David's show. That's the guy.
Oh, okay, cool. Perfect. Well, my number 1, I did go back and forth in this a lot, but I just, kept thinking about the player, and I'm not going to punish him for not having the best quarterback right now. And he never did have the best quarterback, but he kept putting up the best numbers, and that's Justin Jefferson. To me, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. He's proven it to me, and it took a while for him to prove it to me. I've had Tyreek Hill over him and Devontae Adams, like I had mentioned. CeeDee Lamb even at times, and I debated other players over him, but I know he's not having the greatest season right now, but again, it's Sam Darnold. 831 yards, 53 catches. He's gotten the end zone 5 times. But again, just overall to me, he's got the best wide receiver game, can run all the routes, make all the catches. He's it. To me, he's number 1. Who do you got?
At number 1, I have, it may anger you, Chase.
No, It doesn't anger me at all. He's my number 2. No, okay. I got him at 2, so I love it. Ja'Marr Chase is killing it, bro.
Yeah, Ja'Marr Chase, 980 receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns, 3 more than the next closest guy. He's super duper elite, and he's got an incredible quarterback there. And honestly, if T. Higgins isn't in there, it's just better for Chase. More numbers for Chase.
Yeah, you would think the other way. Open. You would think the other way because he's getting more double coverage and he's still making all the plays. It doesn't matter. Ja'Marr Chase is phenomenal. I just happen to like Justin Jefferson a tad over him, but Chase is clearly having the better year, but clearly has the better quarterback, as we mentioned in our top 5 quarterbacks, as you have put Joe Burrow number 1. So there you go. But
and the other thing over there is, if you notice, those guys in Cincinnati, they've been running like 2 and 3 tight end sets. And so when you have all those big guys out there, you got to put big guys out there to match them. But then you got Chase out there on like an I-form defense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to get open out there. It's crazy.
That's why
and they have 3 very good. They have very good tight ends over there too.
Yeah.
They're gonna start. I think they're gonna start opening up cans of whoop ass on the rest of the way. They should have They should have at least done a better job last week instead of giving the game away to the Ravens. Going on 2. I'm sorry, I don't get that.
No, I wasn't really a big fan of it. Even though most people on the analytics side like, no, that's the right move to do. I'm like, no, do it. But then again, on the other side, I understand that if you go into it and if the Ravens win the toss, they're probably going down for a touchdown and you don't touch the ball again. So I do understand it in that way. To me, I'm a little bit more old school. Let's kick the field goal and let's go play some good defense. But they weren't playing good defense. So
I'm more old school as well. I feel like tie the game, start it. Now it's 0-0. Let's go. Like you gave it away. You just handed them the game without making them even have to work for it a little more. You could have won the toss. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just a bummer because you got all these losses. You're trying to move up. So I get the aggressive move to go for it, but then you got to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get it. Or else now you're screwed. You fell down again. They're not going to the playoffs. They're too dick in the dirt. I don't think the Cincinnati has any chance to make it to the playoffs this year.
All right, all right. I think they have a sliver of a chance. We'll see. They're still kind of eking around over there, but there's still games to play. But they have a tough schedule ahead of them. There's no lie. They got some monsters on there. All right, we got to move a little quicker. Your number 2 wide receiver.
Number 2 for me is Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
Oh, I like it. I love it, actually.
524 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. But oh, wait, he's also thrown for a touchdown, which I really love. And that put him over the top for my guy in 3rd. And I thought that was really cool.
All right. Well, we get to your guy in 3rd. My guy in 3rd, again, he's still putting up really good numbers despite this team not having a good year. CeeDee Lamb, 59 catches, 681 yards, only 4 touchdowns right now. But Dak Prescott is out, so don't expect a whole lot from him. But CeeDee Lamb is Dallas offense. He is the only playmaker on that entire offense. There's no question about it. So he's the only reason why they scored points this year. And again, we're talking about this year, but if you go back to last year, the guy is just incredible. 1,800 yards or whatever the hell it was, just nuts. Yeah. So CD is my number 3.
I mean, I know, I only know CD with Dak. And I know CD is great, but with Dak.
Yeah, but listen, you can't put that on him that Cooper Rush is going to come in there and light it up.
Absolutely not. So, unfortunately, he's got to do it without the semi-elite quarterback, in my opinion.
Let's see.
That's just kind of my opinion. Same thing with Tyreek. Tyreek's been putting up double digits barely, if you know, and in the fantasy points, he's 10, 11, 12. Barely, even he doesn't have Tua, but he's producing points alone. And so that's for me, that's what really does it. And
all right, well, who do you got at 3 in?
At 3, I have Scary Terry.
You still haven't mentioned Justin Jefferson. I can't believe it.
I haven't.
Scary Terry. Wow, number 3.
CD isn't even on my top 5.
Look at okay. So this is really interesting.
Scary Terry.
I love Scary Terry as much as the next guy, but
never had a quarterback before.
Number 3. How about that? All right, tell me.
711 receiving yards. Okay, and he's got 6 receiving touchdowns. And like I said, finally has a quarterback. Have you given this guy a quarterback the last few years? He would be an elite quarterback to everyone else, not just the people who pay attention. And he would have a bigger contract, and he may have even left for he could be on Kansas City this year. Who knows? There was an opportunity for him to move to another team at one point when he was doing not great. He wasn't putting up the numbers. And people were like, is this guy really that good? He's not producing anything. Finally gets a QB, and now he's top 5. Obviously, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No doubt. Look, I love him. I think he's fantastic. I don't have the balls to put him number 3 on my top 5 list. So I'll go ahead at number 4 and put AJ Brown, because when he is in, that is a whole different offense. Even with Saquon, as great as Saquon is, as great as Jalen Hurts is, and even as great as Devonta Smith is, this team is completely different with A.J. Brown because he is a 50-50 ball master. It's not 50-50. It's 90-10 when it comes to him. He's coming down with it. He runs the go route, and it seems like they hit it every time. Jalen Hurts loves A.J. Brown. I love A.J. Brown. He is phenomenal. He's my number 4. And again, I know he's missed a few games this year, but when he plays, he is on point.
Well, this is awesome. This is why we're a good collab. I don't AJ not on my list either. I respect the guy, but availability is the best ability, and so for me, he has to be there. It's not injury is not your fault. Bad quarterback, not your fault. But I do need to get results, and so this year he's just not there. I have number 4. I'm sorry, number 4. Garrett Wilson, 704 yards. 5 touchdowns on a terrible team with a terrible cursed team and quarterback. And it's just again, here's a guy who I feel like he's doing it by himself in much of the way. Who else did I have? Well, not Scary Terry, but I forgot. I guess I didn't make my list, but I was talking about somebody who was Tyreek. Tyreek was still producing even with Huntley and Skylar Thompson at quarterback.
Well, that's the thing that he really wasn't. That's why the quarterback makes such a difference. It really is that big of a deal. There was they weren't putting up they weren't even throwing the ball at them at certain times. I live here down in Miami, so I heard enough of the bullshit that people had going on. I just say hello to my dog over here. What's up, Money? Say hello to everybody, Money. I'm gonna get you off screen in a minute. But that's the thing. As good as Tyreek Hill is, he wasn't putting up anywhere near it. But
not the numbers he was putting up, but he was producing He was producing something when there was nothing to work with. And so Tyreek's not on my list either. I'm just saying, because like I said, availability is a big deal. And if your quarterback is not there, it's like you're not there. And so I do want to point out that he did produce points here and there. Like he did some stuff, but no, not what he was supposed to do. Not the people who drafted him with the #1 pick this year in fantasy and skipping CMC and expecting to have the greatest PPR guy in the world. And you just never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So yeah, I like Wilson. I hate his quarterback. I hate his team.
Yeah, they're not doing well. But no, he individually is doing awesome. You mentioned his numbers, man. 65 catches, 704 yards. I mean, they don't get in the end zone, but he managed to get in 5 times. So that's
in the end zone. And then adding Devontae, I think, makes him better, not worse. Yeah. So that was my guy.
My number 5, I want to give some love real quick. He just edged out. He's not my number 5. He's like my 5A. Nico Collins has become a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Let's just be very clear about that. When he comes – money, stop. When he comes back, he is going to be an absolute monster again because he's a monster when he's on the field. He was tops in everything before
he was the #1 wide receiver before he got hurt.
Without a doubt. So I got him right there. But you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown before. That guy is electric. I love it. I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Detroit. If he wasn't on that team, if he was on a team that didn't have as many weapons, I mean, he would put up, Tyreek Hill type numbers, in my opinion. No doubt. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 5 for me on my wide receiver list. Let's do your number 5 and move it along.
It's Jay Jettis, 831 yards, 5 touchdowns with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Just beats out Drake London and Darnell Mooney for me, which Darnell Mooney, what the hell? How are you up there with the same numbers as Drake London?
Yeah,
it's
impressive.
All Kirk Cousins? Is it Captain Kirk?
Darnell Mooney getting that one-on-one coverage over there, and Kirk, throwing accurate passes.
So much disrespect to Mooney in other fantasy guru chats, like the guys who would no love from Mooney. I feel like here's another guy that nobody knows. There's a lot of mouths to feed there, I feel like, with Pitts and London and Bijan, and he's producing that. That to me is impressive. Didn't make my list, like I said, it's Jettas, but did want to talk about London and Mooney real quick, and
no doubt.
And let's do some tight ends.
Let's give them their love. All right. Number 1 for me, this is not a biased pick at all. George Kittle has been the best tight end in the NFL this year. He just has been. He's been scoring touchdowns. He's getting open. He has been Brock Purdy's, crutch, if you want to call it that. So, I don't want to waste a whole lot of time because we got to get into everything. But George Kittle, no bias here. He has been the best tight end in the NFL this year.
Number 1 tight end in football, George Kittle. 560 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 ahead of the next guy, who you can't even believe who the next guy is going to be on my list. But so easy one. Let's go to number 2.
I think that Philly Special just put up your number 2. Is that your number 2? What Philly Special just put up right here?
Spongy knows me pretty well. Oh no,
it's not your number 2. Okay, I thought. I know you love him.
I love the targets, I love the yards, but I don't love the team, and I don't love the lack of touchdowns.
Well, who is your number 2? And then I'll get to mine.
Number 2 for me is Cade Otton. Just started playing. He just started playing.
Okay.
250 receiving yards, right behind Kittle, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Baker likes him, and he's there. He took the lead when 2 wide receivers went out. I thought it was really awesome. I thought it was really impressive. And he's a rookie, I believe.
No, I think it's his second year now.
Second year. Okay, there you go.
But no, he's been playing excellent. He really has.
Impressive.
Yeah, all right. That's pretty good. All right. I mean, I'm still going to say he did not start. My number 2 guy did not start out the year like you would expect him to, but he has come on big time as of late. Travis Kelce is still number 2 to me in the NFL. I mean, usually he's number 1, but Kittle is having that type of year. Kelce has come back to form big time over the last 3-4 games, and I expect that for the rest of the year. So Kelsey's my number 2. Let's go to your number 3.
My number 3, also a guy who's just coming along, and in the beginning of the season also was having issues. Mark Andrews, right?
Okay.
Is it Mark Andrews?
Yeah.
And Mark Andrews, Baltimore tight end, 350 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and like I said, it's just recent because he didn't start out his first few. I think it was 3 or 4, even 5 games. He just wasn't doing anything, and it was all about Isaiah Likely.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Since he didn't get that toe in that game, it's been all Andrews.
Yeah, like they did not forget how good he is. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dallas Goedert may be a top 5 guy, Philly, if he was healthy. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
My number 3 is Trey McBride. He's like a wide receiver out there. I mean, talk about another. James Conner is amazing for Arizona. Trey McBride has been amazing for Arizona. He catches everything. He 2 weeks ago when they played the Jets, he broke this tackle and then jumped over somebody in the same fucking play. I'm like, this is a tight end. How are you doing that? So
we know them well. We know them well in the NFC West.
Yeah, unfortunately, Arizona, they seem to be able to beat us. I don't know how they do that, but they figure out a way. Damn it.
All those picks really helped them out, and they're going to get probably a couple good picks this year, at least 2 or 3 good picks again in the next draft.
Well, I don't know. Not if they win the damn division right now.
Well, no, I mean, even whenever they pick, I'm saying they're going to get 3. I don't know if they traded any early picks away, but if they have their first, second, and third round picks, they're going to make some good picks. They're going to improve even more. They're going to be a thorn.
They got a good young team. They really do.
Cheap.
And if Kyler Murray continues to get better, then watch out. All right, who's your number 4?
My number 4 guy, I love Trey McBride. I do. I love Kelsey too, but it's Kyle Pitts. Finally, another guy who got himself a quarterback, 485 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Not that great. But if you look at the tight end stats, which I'm sure you did recently, I'm guessing, not much there. Like, there's just not very impressive tight ends. The tight ends kind of tanked, kind of like ruined everything in fantasy this year for people. Tucker Kraft is out there as like one of the best tight ends.
Right.
This is the guy who, like, we thought he wasn't even going to play or wasn't going to be used. And then it was all like this Luke Musgraves was all the talk. And then Kraft comes back like Kelsey, like Andrews right now, and these Bowers, Trey McBride. So there's a lot of good tight ends out there. They're just not getting touchdowns. And so, that's the thing.
That's all right. Again, for those who watch the games and are not just wrapped up in fantasy freaking island, then you understand what these guys are really doing. And that's what Sam Laporta does. I mean, he may not be putting up these huge numbers, but he's that type of guy. He's my number 4. I think he's number 4 sounds about right for Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I had it up there. I was thinking.
Yeah, so I'm going to put him at number 4. Despite not having the greatest numbers right now. I mean, they're on a winning team. What are they? 8-1, 9-1, whatever their damn record.
They're disgusting, and we talked about it. I said they were here to play. They were going to the Super Bowl this year, and that's what they made sure of it when they got Jake Bates. And that shit showed its face this last week.
Oh, Philly! By the way, Philly, I did pick your Eagles to go to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, and they made me look bad in the beginning. They're making me look pretty good right now. So there you go, Philly. And usually,
it's nice that Dallas is out of it. Dallas is out of it, and so
Dallas is gone. Dallas is
Philly can beat Washington. If Philly can beat Washington, that's huge.
Philly can beat Washington, and they will beat Washington.
I'm pretty sure Philly's winning that game. I picked them to win that game. So
we're going to go over these teams in a minute. We're going to keep defense out, but let's go to our number 5 tight end, and then we're going to get to our game picks.
Okay. Number 5 for me is Brock Bowers, 580 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Young man, terrible team. I believe they're a terrible team. I don't think the problem is that I don't think he's ever had more than 60 yards a game, or maybe a couple times, once or twice he's had over 60 yards. It's the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so he's had these games where, so I love him. He's a great player. I need you to produce a little bit, even if you're by yourself. You can't throw yourself the ball, but I think either McBride or Brock Bowers or McBride also have like rushing yards or something, or maybe Brock
Bowers has got 580 yards and 57 catches.
Can you imagine Brock Bowers on Denver? Because they're missing a tight end. What they're missing. Can you imagine Brock Bowers on Denver? Let's make a move.
A running game. That's what they're missing. They need a running game. That's what would really help with that defense. Tell me about it. Jeez. Well, let's do our games right now. Next week, we're going to do the Freaky Fantasy Football Draft, where we each pick a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, and defense, and we go up against each other. So that'll be a lot of fun. So we got that in store for next weekend, week, and listen to me, next Thursday. But yeah, we got our game picks to do. We got tonight. We got Philly. We got Washington. And we got an NFL rivalry over here. So a couple of notes, just about the Commanders secondary. That's a problem when Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Jaden Daniels, the key, keeping him in the pocket. I was making a couple of notes and looking at, past games and listening to, NFL Live and just trying to get shit together and whatnot. But it just doesn't seem like this game fares so much well for the Commanders, with Philly really hitting their stride right now, playing better on defense. Vic Fangio has got the secondary playing much better right now. These kids, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, and plus Darius Slay. I mean, they're playing really, really good right now. And I know Dallas is not fully Dallas, but they romped them in Dallas. Yeah. Right? The game was in Dallas last week, so I think Philly has got a really, really good chance of winning this game. And to me, they should. I wouldn't be shocked if Washington pulls it off, but their defense to me is not good enough. So I think it's going to be a decent amount of scoring. Washington will hang in there, but I'm going to have to go with Philadelphia 27-24. It'll be close.
I agree. I'm taking the Eagles. I've always liked the Eagles this year. I didn't say a bad word about them once, unless I was teasing Sponge. In which case I was joking. I knew they were here to play too. They were one of the teams like Detroit that I was actually worried about this year, as real competition for the Niners. And so the disrespect for Philly is like unmerited. It doesn't. It's. I don't know why people are doing that. They're just hating. Dallas is gone. They win this game, which they should, because Washington has a pretty crummy. They're like playing backups on O-line right now. You saw what a team that can herd the scrambler in, like Pittsburgh. They've been playing Lamar for a long time. They know how to stop the scrambling quarterback.
Yeah, look, the Philadelphia's got a better offense than Pittsburgh does, and Pittsburgh put up 28 points, so it could be a little scary what Philadelphia might do tonight. They could put up a 40 spot.
Which is why I had to hold Jaden out of this one. As much as I want him, I feel like he's going to be a lot of 3 and outs for Jaden. He's a young man. Fangio is going to take care of business, man. Yeah, so I think it's an easy one. But Philly, they can blow it sometimes.
Well, it looks like they turned the corner now for the better for themselves. So we're both going with Philly on that one.
Point, football. Sponge, I also took them, even though knowing the risk.
All right, we got a divisional matchup. NFC North, Green Bay Packers go to Chicago to play the Bears. The Bears have been a major disappointment. So is Caleb Williams so far. They can't score points. They lost to New England in Chicago. They only scored 3 points, man. They haven't scored a touchdown in a few games. They can't score. And Green Bay's got a good defense. Jordan Love coming back after their bye week. Green Bay should win this one easily. And I really would be shocked if Chicago pulls out the upset. This is pretty much my lock of the week. Green Bay going to Chicago and winning this game.
Yeah, I also have Green Bay. I don't have much to say about it. The Bears are just feel like they're fell off and they're done now.
Yeah, they're terrible. It's bad news. And you know what? The players are feeling like they don't even want to play for their coach, at this point. So how are they going to go out there and give it their all? What are they going to do? They're going to rally around Caleb Williams? No, they're not. No. That's not the guy that's rallying around right now. I'm sorry. It's just not working out.
It's too bad for Caleb.
I ain't saying Caleb Williams is done by any stretch of the imagination. No. Give this freaking guy time. There's no doubt. But right now, it is not working. It's a problem. Yeah. All right. Jacksonville, Detroit. This one, again, snooze fest for me. Not even going to bother looking at it until the score is over. Detroit should win this one big, 34-13. They're on a roll. Jacksonville's got Mac Jones. The game is in Detroit and in the Dome. It's going to be loud. Lions win big.
Lions handedly. Is that how you say it?
Handedly.
Handle it. One of those words.
However it freaking goes. All right, Minnesota at Tennessee next. Tennessee's got a pretty good defense, and Minnesota's got a really good defense. So which offense is going to show up? Neither one really has been showing up lately. I can really see a freaking upset in this game. Tennessee at home, they might be able to pull it off. But you know what? When you got Justin Jefferson is out there and Aaron Jones,
Addison,
Minnesota should be able to put up more points and win.
Hawkinson back?
Hawkinson is back, yes. So
that's disgusting. Adding him to that team now is nice. The problem is that Sam Darnold has been able to get his first read all year. And when teams adjusted, now he's got to look for other guys, and it hasn't been working out. They just barely won that last game. That was an embarrassment.
Right. 12-7 against Jacksonville, and that was with Mac Jones.
And this is the other Jacksonville they're going to play this week.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, it could be another 10-7 type of game. But my God, the Vikings have to destroy this team. And then you have the Titans scores. They come late in the game, garbage time.
And they really can. I can see the Titans winning, but I'll go with Minnesota. Are you going to take the Vikings too?
I'm taking the Vikings. I have to.
All right.
I have to. And I really like Ridley. He's bumped up a little bit, and he's finally the number one guy, so he's getting a lot more targets, and he's getting his numbers. I know he's happy.
As he should. Calvin Ridley's been an awesome wide receiver in this league for a long time. I mean, I know he was suspended that 1 year, but when he came back for Jacksonville, he was a monster. So, yeah you got to feed that guy the ball.
Dude, listen, I had to drop Tank Dell, and I had to drop who the hell were we just talking about?
Who for Tennessee, Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, I had to drop Ridley and Tank Dell. That's how stacked I am at wide receiver.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow,
people are going to pick those two guys up right now this time of the season. That's so great for them.
Couldn't even leave them on your bench?
No, I had to activate Evans and I had to activate DK in the next couple of games.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't let somebody else have Ridley and ride it while it lasts, because I'll tell you right now, the Ridley numbers are what I just said. Couple deep catches and late touchdowns in garbage time, but points are points as far as fantasy goes. So if you're scoring them, you keep them. And so I think throwing Tank Dell and Ridley out there might give somebody in ninth place something to be happy about.
All right, well, you gave me a nice early Christmas gift then. Good for you. How nice of you. What a sweetheart. All right, sweetheart. Well, what do you got in this game? Vegas at Miami. So the Raiders come in to play the Dolphins down here where I live. And the Dolphins beat the Rams on Monday Night Football in LA. That was
I called it.
Nice. Good job. Good job out of you. Good job. So Miami.
No, actually, I didn't. I may have in here, but I didn't in the other one.
I believed you.
I saw Cooper, Puka, Stafford, Kyron, and I was like, dude, you have no shot.
Yeah. I picked LA. I thought the Rams are going to win that game, but Miami, they played really good defense. And they probably should again against Vegas, but these games are always tricky. But no, I'll take the Dolphins at home over Vegas.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, the Raiders are just not a good team, so I got to go Dolphins. They're looking good. Tua's okay right now. Achane didn't have a great game last week, but he still had a good game. He
actually had a pretty good game. When he had the ball in his hands, he was doing something. So he is
really a guy top 5 right now with CMC, and there are people that this list would have had to been top 15. It's been so good.
We could spend a lot more time on it. And I do want to do power rankings maybe next week. If we could fit power rankings in with the fantasy football draft,
I'm sure maybe we could start at 345. We could start at 350 or something. We could get 10 extra minutes in there.
Yeah. Your time 350. Jesus. Yeah. It's so early where you are. God. All right. Let's go. We got the Rams. Speaking of the Rams, they're playing the Patriots this weekend. It's in New England. This could be another one where New England can sneak up and beat them. I think that the Rams are coached well enough and have good enough players where they're not going to let it go down like that. They're not going to lose a second game in a row in a game that they should win and are favored in. So I will take the Rams on the road in this game uncomfortably to win in a close one.
Somebody brought up a good point that I didn't think about, but I should have in the other pick'ems that I do. Patriots at home in the middle of November, and the Rams going up there, a West Coast team, nice weather, controlled temperature inside their stadium, semi-controlled temperature, and it could be a little cold up there in New England. So I see what you're saying with the upset. I could see it happening, but no, I'm going Rams again.
All right. So, you tricked me for a minute. I thought you were going to go into New England. All right. Philly, if you want to be on that one, man, we can try. We can get you in on that. We can have a third player in the fantasy draft. It's fun. Do a snake draft, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense.
I told Sponge he's welcome here anytime, Sponge.
We did it on the 3rd and 3 podcast for 3 years, and we had a blast with it. We had so much fun.
Dude,
all right, let's go to
if you got anything, you can directly contact Jason if you need it. If you want to talk about anything, dude.
Sure you can. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm right there, on YouTube for you to find me. Just, no hate mail. All right, Cleveland, New Orleans, the game that nobody wants to watch this weekend, but it probably will end up being the most interesting one. I went back and forth with this game. I'm really not sure. I guess I'm leaning toward the home team, but no Chris Olave. Alvin Kamara, your guy, he's going to have to do a whole lot of things for them to win this game.
Yeah, and Stefanski and Schwartz will be ready.
I think God, I don't know who to pick. I keep waffling back and forth. You know what? Just because they're home, I'm going to take New Orleans. It's the only reason. What are you going to do?
All right. I'm going to have to go with the Browns. I just like Njoku. I like the Winston. I like the Tillman. I like the new Tillman guy everyone's talking about, the new fad, the new toy.
Yeah.
So he looks good to me. And the Saints are just a really bad team on defense. And Carr, I just can't be dependent on, in my opinion. And so I'm going to just lean towards the Browns. They have won some games this year. I think they can win this game.
All right, no doubt. Well, it's good to know
the Saints winning last week, beating Tampa last week. The Saints,
anything
not the Saints. I'm sorry, not the Saints. The Falcons. That's a big win. Man. That's a big win.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but
they're gonna feel good, and they'll be home, like you said. I just think the Browns are a little bit better team, and I think the Saints are gonna blow it.
Well, that's why I also feel like Atlanta's a joke. But it's good to know that Philly won't be pranking me and sending me hate mail just to you, Kenny, on Friday night.
True.
That's it. All right, good. Glad.
Yeah.
All right, so we did
pile it on Fridays.
We differ on that game, but I can see it happening with Cleveland. All right, big time game, AFC North, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, one of the best rivalries in football, maybe the best. And you remember the days of Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Flacco going at it, and Ray Lewis and Troy Polamalu. But we got different guys in house now, and Pittsburgh has been rolling. Baltimore has been a roller coaster. This one's really hard for me to pick, but I feel like at the end of the day, the Ravens got the better players. The coaching kind of evens out, even though I like Mike Tomlin a little bit more than John Harbaugh. So I think that the road team could win this game because I don't think that it matters much in these divisional battles where it's played. They played each other so many times. I'm going to take the Ravens by a field goal, 23-20.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I just think
for you.
I think the defense is good, and they know how to deal with that. Their thing is containing that scrambling quarterback. They've been doing it for a while. They just did it with Harrison. They just did it with the Beatles. So they just did it, to a good team. I feel like a good team. Washington. Maybe their defense isn't really there, but they were rolling Washington, rolling. Hit a wall. They hit the steel curtain there. I like it happening again. The Ravens have won a lot of games. Okay. They should have probably lost the last one, like I said, in my opinion. I think they would have lost that game had it gone the distance. I really think they could have lost that game. I think they got a gift. The defense is the DBs are just giving up way too much out there. I think Russell's going to have a lot of yards passing, at least 2 touchdowns passing. Hopefully he doesn't throw any interceptions. I think Tomlin is like a saint, like a god level right now coach. I called him for Coach of the Year. If you remember, I picked him for Coach of the Year.
All right.
While I also told him he would have his first losing season ever.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's an oxymoron.
It doesn't make sense, but I did pick him for Coach of the Year, even saying that was going to happen, because of what a great draft he had. Remember, he had such a great draft. He took the three linemen with his first pick. That's nuts, man. And so, maybe not with his first 3, but the first 2 were linemen. I think he took a wide receiver.
Speaking of great draft, that when the Rams they drafted Jared Verse, we text each other. I told you Jared Verse going to be Defensive Player of the Year. This guy looks so good, man. He is a monster on defense.
He was someone I should have picked.
He's a monster. Yeah, that game should be really good. I'm interested in watching that game. There's going to be a lot of good games to watch. Even this one, Atlanta and Denver. Atlanta's got to feel some vengeance and want to come back from that loss that you mentioned against the Saints. And Denver could have taken Kansas City out of the unbeaten ranks, but gets a field goal block. So their defense is playing really good. The offense is okay. And Atlanta's, they can score points really at any time, but this game is in Denver, in Mile High. I think it's going to be really tough for Atlanta to get their offense moving. And I think Denver's defense will do enough in order to win. Maybe a lot of field goals in this game. So I think Denver wins a real close one here.
Okay. I like Denver. I like them a lot. Every time I pick them, though, they lose. And the Falcons they're a good – I just feel like they're a good offensive team. They have a good line. I think that they're going to outscore the Broncos, even with their defense as good as it is. That's what I think is going to happen. I've seen Kirk do this, where it's just like touchdown, and you got to keep up. And while I love the Denver Broncos defense, I don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up. That's just my opinion on this game. But I hear you, man. The Broncos are a good team, and I could see them easily winning this game, easily.
Yeah, this will be a good game, actually. I'm looking for – got a lot of good games.
It'll be great for Tampa if that happens. You know what? If Tampa Tampa's right there. They want to
Tampa's
play.
a good team. You know, I feel bad that Tampa lost their 2 wide receivers like that because they were looking good. Like they can beat like anybody and hang in there. Baker Mayfield playing really good football.
And I don't know if you're watching them. I brought this up to people. They're designing some really great running plays in Tampa. I don't know if you're watching these things, man.
I'm watching very close.
And it's making Bucky Irving look incredible.
Yeah, and Rachaad White is still doing his thing, man, catching the ball and running the ball. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Our game this weekend is Seattle coming to town to play the 49ers, man. So here we go, divisional matchup. It's a big one. It's really important that we get this win over here because Arizona now at 6-4 at the top. 49ers back at 5-4. Seattle is the team that was that kind of wild card in this division. We didn't know what we were going to get out of them, but they look inept on offense at times. But DK Metcalf coming back makes this offense a lot different. So Kenneth Walker getting a lot of action also. The 49ers are going to be on their heels a little bit in this game, but I believe they got enough offense against Seattle's defense, which really hasn't been as good as we thought it was going to be. They can be scored on, as we've seen in the past couple of weeks. So I don't want to be too much of a homer and too biased, Kenny, but I think the 49ers got more tools, and the fact that they are home gives them a little bit of an edge. So I'll give the 49ers a pretty high-scoring game, 30-25.
Yeah, Kyle really starts to turn it on in November. He really starts to get better, and so I'm going to take them for this game for the win. But yes, DK back, practiced yesterday, felt great. He said he's totally back. That's a problem. He's going to get like 17 targets. And Walker, absolutely a problem. We're not the greatest at stopping the run. Maybe we've been recently, but we're not a great team at stopping the run. And they're going to give this guy the ball like 35 times.
Yeah, and JSN is another good player, man. You got to watch out for him too. Yep, they got good players all around. So it's not a walkover game, not by any means.
Not a scrub team, but and I don't want to jinx us, but some certain quarterback has never lost to Seattle. So.
Well, okay. Let's not say anything anymore.
Right.
Here's
I don't know who he is, but a certain quarterback has never lost to that.
There's a certain quarterback who can't beat a certain quarterback in the playoffs, and that would be Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Can beat him, though, in the regular season. This game is in Buffalo. They play every year. They're very familiar with each other. They played, I think, 7 times now against each other. So each team knows each other real well, including the coaching schemes. Oh, man, if there's ever going to be a loss for Kansas City, it's going to be this week. But Buffalo is a little thin at wide receiver. Amari Cooper, a little shaky. Looks like he's going to play, but no Keon Coleman. So you got to rely on Khalil Shakir, James Cook. It's going to be hard for Buffalo to run the ball. But on the other side, Kansas City, they have not been scoring either. And Buffalo's defense has been playing better than what they are on paper. So you know what? I think because Josh Allen has proven that he can do it at least in the regular season, they're going to knock Kansas City off the undefeated ranks. Miami Dolphin fans, you will be able to pop your champagne bottles over the weekend because Buffalo is taking Kansas City out of the undefeated ranks.
That is what I would normally pick, is the Bills. They're just really good, even thin. I really like them. Josh Allen is clearly the better quarterback this year. He's kept the turnovers down, which is huge. I still like Kansas City's defense. I like Spagnuolo. I like Andy Reid. I like me some Pat Mahomes with his photographic memory. If people don't know, okay, it's probably why he's pretty good. Makes a difference. They got Pacheco coming back, don't they? This week, or is it next week?
I don't think it's this week. I think it's next week, not this week.
Okay. Well, they already have like a 2 to 3 headed monster on the team. They're going to get another guy.
I mean, Kareem Hunt has been killing it. It's like he never left.
Every week. And so what they're going to do with him? They're still going to use him. It's going to be disgusting. And Perine or Perine or whatever his name is.
Samaje Perine.
And then you got the other guy, the white dude with like he looks like Tom Rathman out there.
Yeah, Steele.
What's his name? Yeah, Steele. They got a lot of options, and they're like New England when they were. New England never had major wide receiver, like all-star wide. Maybe one, but like they did it with all these like guys, and that's what they do.
Only when they had
you don't know who the hell they're going to be throwing to.
Only when they had Randy Moss. And when Tom Brady did have Randy Moss, they broke records where Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns in one season.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize they never had any superstar. Like, they had some good running backs. They had some good wide receivers at points, but that was never why they were
great. They weren't a superstar team. And that's not what Kansas City is right now, except for, the quarterback and their tight end. I mean, they got stars. But
and I always say, the coaching staff, you got to think about it. They're incredible. From that scout to the owner to the scout to the coach, the OC, DC, everybody there is top notch.
It's top-notch organization all the way around. There's no doubt. That's why they keep on winning, and they're going for a three-peat. So,
although, let me touch real quick, really quick. That blocked kick looked like BS to me, man. Did you see my man just pull an Ezekiel Elliott?
I don't know what happened there. It looked like the entire offensive line fell backwards.
It was like an avalanche over there. It was just, I'm not going to get into it. Not going to even do it. But we just talked about how they've won games this year.
Yeah, they win games every which way you could possibly think of.
And you know what? They made sure to come out the very damn next day and say that shit was planned and that they did that specifically so that would happen. And that's how they always do it. So, like, when people are, like, thinking this shit is fixed, this is so rigged, then you have this and they come out the next day and they're like, no, that's exactly what we wanted to do. And you're like, shit, I mean, it does kind of seem like that's what they got. So, like, you can't even...
So, who are you taking, by the way, Buffalo or Kansas City?
I'm taking Kansas City. You gotta beat. I gotta see them lose first. I can't keep getting. I picked San Diego to beat them. I picked San Diego to beat them. I think, and that was, thought that would happen.
Well, we thought that we were going to see the Indianapolis Colts play the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football, but they bumped them out of there for the Cincinnati Bengals and Los Angeles Chargers. Thank God. So let's pick Indy Jets, which not many people care about, but the return of Anthony Richardson coming back. Yeah. Let's see what they do there. The Jets are just that Jekyll and Hyde team. Like, 1 week they can actually play really well, and the next week they put up a stinker. It's just amazing. I don't know what's going to happen, man, but for some stupid reason, the Jets are favored in this game. They probably will actually win it because Anthony Richardson will throw about 4 interceptions in this game. That's what I'm banking on. Indy to have a lot of turnovers. The Jets defense to win this game for them. It'll be low scoring, but they'll do enough. So give me the New York Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it, but the Colts are going to be in second place of their division, as bad as they've been. And when people, I know there's a lot of guys out there, they've been going off about Richardson coming back. He's young. He's raw talent. He's great. Just give him a chance. It's an attitude thing for me right now. I don't see his motivation. I think he's worse than Flacco out there.
Well, right now he probably is. Let's see what happens, as time.
And not that I want Flacco in there. Look, you got to play your guy. You got to play your guy while he's healthy. And he's got to get reps and get better. And you got to do it. You can't sit him for Joey Flacco. That doesn't make any sense. And so, like you said, I think you said before, right? You said you never should have sat him.
No, that was my opinion. You never should have sat him. Nope. Yeah. So, Anthony Richardson and the Colts get a win or no? You got the Jets?
I have the Jets, I have the Jets. I mean, I can't. Right. Indianapolis, I just don't see it happening. And if they do beat the Jets, let me tell you right now, the Jets need to stop and just forfeit the season and give everybody wins and, like, just go. Because it's so bad. What the Jets have done this year is just so disappointing. If you're a Jets fan, you just can't win, man. It's just got to be tough.
It's heart-wrenching. It really is. It's a hard thing to deal with. I have a lot of Jets friends, and they have very miserable lives. I feel really bad for them. All right, let's wrap this up over here. We got 2 games. We've got a Sunday Night Football game, which is the Cincinnati Bengals at the LA Chargers. All the LA Chargers did was bring in J.K. Dobbins and Jim Harbaugh, and the entire team has changed. The same defense from last year that Brandon Staley could not deal with for 3 years in a row. Pathetic as he is, Jim Harbaugh does everything. This team is clicking. They're playing great. But you know what? They have not played a team like Cincinnati yet. They have not played an offense like this yet. And this defense, as good as they have been playing lights out. They have not let up over 21 points the entire season. This will be the first time that happens this year. Cincinnati is going to get this win. They are desperate to do it. I think that they have enough offense to make it happen on the road. Sunday Night Football, give me the Bengals.
I agree with you. The Bengals are going to win this game, and I think it's going to be handedly.
Oh, handily. That word comes up again. Handily.
And you know that I've praised the Chargers defense all year. They're my fantasy defense. So I've told everyone every week they don't give up a lot of points. They're getting a ton of interceptions, a ton of
sacks.
Here's the thing, and I don't want to be too much of a jerk about it, but I think their numbers last 3 games, if you look at who they played, their sacks and all their numbers and have been a little inflated. Before that, they were a good defense. Last 3 games, they look like a great defense.
Yeah, they have.
I don't think they can stop Cincinnati, though.
I think it's going to be too hard. That's why I picked up the Packers defense this week to go against Chicago.
I picked up Miami. Am I crazy?
Okay, no, that's not bad against the Raiders.
Yeah, against the Raiders. So that's what I did. I couldn't start the Chargers this week, and I couldn't start Jaden.
Yeah,
And I
but
know
I'm
that
never I'm not dropping the Chargers though.
they've been in there all year unless there's been a bye, and Jaden hasn't had his bye yet. So this is a big taking Jaden out of there is a ballsy move.
Yeah, a couple of big weeks coming up fantasy.
But I think we're right on the defense here with the Chargers. I don't think it's going to be able. They also somebody just got hurt. One of the cornerbacks. I don't know if they're going to be out, but they just were injured, so that can't be good. If you tweak something on Monday or Sunday, you know that shit hurts on Thursday. You're just going to play.
Absolutely.
So it's going to affect them, I think, and so the D, I think, will have a problem.
Let's see how it carries into Sunday night. But we'll go to our Monday night game to wrap it up. Dallas, again, we spoke about them. They are not what they are. They are hosting this Monday night game, the Battle of Texas, if you want to call them. The Houston Texans are favored to win this game, as they should be. Nico Collins, I believe, is coming back for this game. So that's going to help their offense out a lot. They have been lacking on offense, seriously, since losing him, and Joe Mixon just coming back into the fold is helping things out a little bit. So I expect them to be back and doing their thing, and C.J. Stroud and Joe Mixon to be playing that defense to shut down Cooper Rush or Trey Lance or whoever the hell they decide to put in their quarterback.
Doesn't matter.
Dallas has no chance at winning this game. Give me Houston all day, but it'll be a weird score, something like 24-12.
Yeah, I think that Dallas is also done. They should go on vacation with the Jets. They should go together.
Oh, yeah.
And then whoever
Panthers,
they were supposed
Giants,
to have those teams play each other instead of, you know what I mean? Like just have them switch up each other's schedules or whatever.
A lot of bad teams in the league this year. God.
Yeah, but I got the Texans. It's an easy one. Yeah. I was really excited to pick up Ferguson off waivers when he had Dak. No. And now I picked up Will Dissly and dropped Ferguson. That's another ballsy move.
Crazy. There's maybe some still good tight ends out there. Depends upon your league, how many players you got. But all right, let's see how we do this week. Last week, Kenny, I know that we didn't have our show for the first time last week. We were both busy. I went 10-4 as far as my picks. Kenny, his honesty prevails as always. He went 9-5. Let's see what we do this week. It's on. The game is coming on in about 1 minute, so we got to go to our Amazon Prime affiliate. But we're back next week with the Freaky Fantasy Football Draft. We're going to bring it to the show for the first time, and I think we might do some power rankings also before we make our picks. Week 11 is about to kick off. Let's do it, baby. We're out of here. Power 32 Podcast. See ya.